KSL 92.5 FM.
All right, we got a new drug or two for you today.
Humility.
Let me start it. Don't ever bury the lead. The Gators and the Noles suck.
Yeah.
Who saw that coming, that they'd both be terrible? I mean, goodness gracious, JJ, congratulations to the
Yes.
Canes. They look like they're very good.
Congratulations, JJ.
I told you this before we came on. I don't think it's just Florida being lousy, which is part of it. I think Miami might be really good. Did you think that, watching it, being down there with your girlfriend?
I was wife.
I said girlfriend.
It's okay.
Sorry, Blake,
I
if
even
you're
do
listening,
it.
I apologize.
I even do it sometimes.
Okay,
But I was. You asked me before, do you think it was more Florida being worse than we thought or Miami being better? I was really, really, really surprised about how good Cam Ward was. Like, I've watched, YouTube highlights or whatever, but I had no freaking idea. I was pretty sure that on defense our line was going to be pretty dominant because they were last year, and the O-line we've recruited so well. So I knew in the trenches would be all right, but man, the kid's awesome. And Florida, I heard all offseason. I don't really follow the team that much, but from the people that do, how things were getting turned around, I sort of bought into the Billy stuff.
Yeah, same.
And they're worse than I thought.
I'll get right to it. I'll go first. Hayes, you weigh in too. We got a lot to do today, but it'll be a lot of Florida and FSU. Matt Hayes will join us. Matt's doing our SEC report this year because who knows the SEC better than Matt, so he'll join us at 5 o'clock always. We'll take some calls in the second hour. Not a shout, just your calls. We don't want this 20 seconds while the music's playing. We really want your calls, so that'll be in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We'll talk a little Jaguars. We get ready for a season I'm really excited about, but today's about the college football stuff. I was totally wrong. I was wrong. I'm the don't fire the coach guy. You know that. Fans get furious that I'm the don't fire the coach guy. I think we fire our coaches too fast. I think we can't wait to fire somebody. It's fire, fire, fire. That's all we ever do around here, and it drives me crazy. So I drank the Kool-Aid. They're poorly coached. The job, it's hard not to think the job's too big for Billy Napier now. They don't look any different than they did last year. The Mickey Mouse offense of clap, 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 shift, pistol formation, clap, shift, then run 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 5 running plays that don't work, and dink and dunk. There's not much there. Miami had better players at almost every position. Now they're both in their third year, but I felt at almost every position. I got a lot more I'll get into more detail, but I want to go big picture here. It looked as ill-equipped the Florida football team as I can remember since my junior year when we went 0-10-1. That's how overmatched they look like they are to me. I will say this: you're not firing a guy today, next week, or in 2 weeks. That's not how it works. But you know me, Hayes. This is not where I go usually. But I can't imagine the guy making it to November. And I'm rooting for Billy. I think Billy's a nice guy. I think Billy did build the culture. And, if you have a car dealership and your general man, and it was a mess, and you're selling cars for the wrong price, and you weren't servicing them well, and your patrons are complaining, so you bring in a new general manager, and he changes the culture. He gets rid of the bad salespeople and brings in the good ones. And he gets rid of the bad mechanics and brings in the good ones. He gets new cars in there, and he polishes up the front and puts a paint job on it and builds the culture, builds the look. That's awesome. But you still got to sell cars. You're going to get fired, right? At the end of the day, you're going to get fired if you don't sell the cars. I can't imagine, after all we've heard, after all the talk about how there's something there. There's something there. They may not win as many games because of that tough schedule, but they've turned the corner. They haven't turned the corner at all. They might be worse. Graham Mertz had by far his worst game. He was actually pretty good last year. He wasn't very good at all. And who's the bigger Mertz defender than I am? He wasn't very good. The plan wasn't very good. Again, I thought they played a very good Miami team. But I am shocked. And I'll get to the Noles coming up in a bit too. But I am shocked at what a bad football team the Florida Gators are when I never saw it coming.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Miami as well, because I do think that they've got a chance to really make waves in the national title race. They're excellent on both lines of scrimmage. Cam Ward is sensational, and they play together and they play with a vision. So from seeing them in person, that looks like a pretty good ball club, in my opinion. With that said, I'm not sure Florida could have beaten 100 Division I teams, maybe 120 Division I teams the way they played on Saturday. They're undisciplined. The undisciplined penalties are a problem. There's just nothing redeemable about this coaching staff. The head coach fancies himself as an offensive guru. He's not just subpar. His offense is a complete joke. There's no creativity in it. Guys are constantly blanketed. There weren't receivers running open, and there haven't been really for a few years, and that's with a first-round receiver in Ricky Pearsall. He has no idea how to build a defensive staff. He woefully overvalues trenches in terms of talent. In terms of Billy Napier looks at an average player and sees a star, and that's a big problem. And maybe that perception from being the head coach at Lafayette, at Louisiana Lafayette, maybe that he just was never able to elevate that like he needed to, because the players that he's brought in just simply are ill-equipped. I mean, he still starts a defensive tackle or plays Des Watson 27 snaps. That's laughable for the condition that kid is in. It's just nothing is going right. I would argue that he needs a runner at quarterback in that offense. So for his first 3 years here and his final 2, because this will be his last year at Florida, he's going to have a pocket guy. Well, he clearly needs a running quarterback. That's what he had at Lafayette. He inherited one in Richardson. And then instead of cultivating that in the portal to get either recruit or get in the portal a dual threat quarterback, he settles on a pocket guy, which for his offense just makes it virtually impossible to fool anybody. And so he's an amateur offensive mind. Every sentence in Sunday or Saturday's post-game press conference, every other sentence should have been an apology to the fan base. Every other sentence should have been an apology to the fan base. And not only did he not do that, he follows it up 2 days later and insults the fan base. So, I mean, he's the worst coach that Florida's had in my lifetime, because at least with Muschamp, you had great defense. At least with McElwain, you still had great defense because he knew how to use the players Muschamp gave him. Dan Mullen actually was a good coach. He just checked out of the job. Well, the problem with Billy Napier is it's not about checking out. Billy Napier never found the hotel. He never landed in the city, and he never made it to the airport. He is completely ill-equipped to handle this job. He is the equivalent of a double-A baseball player that hits 285, and you think this guy's ready for the show, and you promote him, and he's terrible. That is what has happened here.
Yeah, and I will tell you, and listen, I'm the guiltiest of the guilty, and I don't ever want to call out kids. I did this with Hick on the podcast. Kids are trying. They're doing the best they can. They're good kids, and I hate even naming kids, but I'm going to for the purpose of the conversation.
Oh, they're getting paid now. So.
That's right. But I'm serious. It was clear last year that Cam Jackson, the defensive tackle, Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle, Tyreek Sapp, Big Dez on the defense, Jake Slaughter, the center, Damian George on the offensive line. It was clear last year they weren't good players. I don't mean that in a mean way. They were trying, but they're not good players. Somehow me and a lot of us convinced myself that they were going to be good this year, even though it was the same guys. Well, I'm an idiot. They're just, and God bless them, I know they're trying, they're just not really good players. And he wasn't able to replace them. And you and I, when we saw that Big Dez was listed first on that depth chart, even in the OR, you and I both kind of looked at each other seriously about that last week, like, oh boy.
I think the comment was that better be the biggest OR in the history of the English language. And it wasn't.
Yeah, and so they're really not very good. And Steve Spurrier said something on Dooley's podcast. We'll play it for you later. I know they played it earlier. But he said, change something. My biggest fear for Billy Napier is I'm old school. We're a process guy. We believe in our process. We believe in our offense. We believe in how we're doing things. But we got to stay the course. We knew it wasn't going to be easy when we got
This
here.
guy plans out the uniforms 5 months in advance.
I said the same thing.
He's not changing anything.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. And I think so. So anyway, where do they go from now? We'll get to that coming up later on. I'll do one before we go to the break. I didn't think the Gators would be this bad, but they were unranked. It's not like it's
right. And they were an underdog in the game.
Right. How did the Noles become this? Talk about. I also drank that Kool-Aid too.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Boy, are they overmatched. Yeah. Listen, I don't doubt that Georgia Tech and BC are improved teams. They both have tough offensive lines and good running quarterbacks. What happens when FSU faces somebody that can throw? They haven't even faced that yet.
Right.
What if they face Miami with a guy that can do both?
Miami's going to beat them by 35.
I mean, how did FSU turn out to be this lousy? I mean, look, I didn't see the Florida thing coming, but in retrospect, I can see how I should have, but not FSU.
Right.
FSU. And
it's really, to be honest, quarterback play is a problem.
Yeah.
But it's not problem 1 or 2.
And make no bones about this. FSU got whipped twice. Georgia Tech needed a field goal to beat them because they kept shooting themselves in the foot, but they clearly outplayed them. Last night, it was 28-13, and BC took a knee 3 times at the 3-yard line.
That's right.
That game's really 35-13. I mean, they took a knee 3 times. They got really – at one time, the rushing yards were 228-25 or something. I don't know where it finished up at.
Yeah.
But how did FSU, who felt like they had turned – now, they lost a lot of guys, but it felt like they had turned the corner. How did that happen? Where were we when that was unfolding?
The only thing I can equate it to is I remember Urban Meyer complaining late in his UF tenure that players were arriving that were landing on third base thinking they hit the triple. And that may be the problem at Florida State, where they brought in guys who figured, oh, we're great, I don't need to do the work. And obviously that was grossly miscalculated because they're terrible in the trenches. They've been outrushed in these 2 games against 2 teams that I'll be surprised if they get to 9 wins. They may not get to 7 wins. I mean, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Georgia Tech and Boston College finished with 6 wins. I don't think that would stun anybody. They've been outrushed in these 2 games, 453 to 119 in terms of yardage. I mean, that's just sickening. So it's a toughness problem. It's a heart problem. Florida State has the worst linebackers I've ever seen them field. I mean, they don't just misfit the gap. They're like 2 gaps over with their eyes looking almost directly the opposite of where the ball carrier is. It is, I've never seen anything like it. And yeah, they've played 2, I'd say, kind of average at best teams on their schedule. They've yet to even get to the heavyweights.
Right. I mean,
so it's a disaster in both Gainesville and Tallahassee. But to me, the real surprise is the disaster in Tallahassee because you thought they had a head coach that really was going to kind of get it now really revved up and going. And obviously he's got a lot of work to do.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll start with the Gators. Where the Gators go from here. How do you fix it? What's going to happen? Does Billy Napier get run out before the end of the season, before midseason? Where this thing is going. We're going to do the same thing with FSU a little bit later on. We'll take your calls in the 5 o'clock hour. Matt Hays joins us to talk SEC, as he'll do every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. We are loaded up with stuff, so we're glad you're with us. Every Tuesday program is brought to you by the Nimnick family of dealerships. That means Nimnick Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue. It means Nimnick Buick GMC on Phillips Highway. You want a place to buy your cars, go where I've been going since 1982, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud to be their spokesman. The Nimnick Tuesday continues in a moment. This is 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Hey, folks, if you're looking for an automobile, this summer, happiness is a brand new Chevy. Like a new Chevy Silverado from Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado. For well-qualified buyers, you can get rates as low as 1.9% financing on all new Silverado 1500 models. With the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $22.50 in trade assistance. What a great deal that is. And ask about our demo models for even deeper discounts. Shop online 24/7 at nimnichchevy.com or visit the dealership, conveniently located at the corner of Park and Cassett. Who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnicht.
A sturdy defense keeps your end zone safe like a Superior fence keeps your family and pets safe.
It's fantastic.
After the game, catch the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game.
What a baller.
On 1010XL.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say,
"What? Huh?" I'm so over this.
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Gene Coleman at 764-4139.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. It's the sports book for every kind of player. Straightforward, simple enough for the first-time bettor, but built with all the features experienced players expect. Plus, try it now. If your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $100. Easy deposits and fast withdrawals. PayPal, Venmo, and more. All you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app. Go online, hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Picking here for my friends at GolfTeeRepair.com. No, we don't really fix golf tees. We just want you to have some fun around the game we all love. Golf Tee Repair is just a Jacksonville company that makes affordable golf wear for Jacksonville dudes who love to play. Polos, t-shirts, hats, hoodies. Got to see it to believe it. GolfTeeRepair.com. All natural materials for comfortable, breathable clothing. GolfTeeRepair.com. Perfect to wear this summer and into September when you're at football game bound. Be comfortable in the heat. GolfTeeRepair.com. They're terrific forever.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
Say, where's your sense of adventure?
They don't cook, but they serve up spicy sports talk.
Sure, it's on the menu.
Helmets and heels.
That is a meal.
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Salvatore's famous pizza now in Jacksonville, Tapestry Park off Southside Boulevard. In honor of our favorite player, number 16, Salvatore's large pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping, only $16. Coupon at salvatores.com. Dine in, pick up, and delivery. $16 for a large Salvatore's pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping. Coupon at salvatores.com. Tax and delivery extra.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
Jags fans, our holiday pack is back with a special edition.
Trevor Lawrence touchdown!
For the first time, get a limited edition Trevor Lawrence bobblehead plus a ticket to one of our December home games starting at $78. Wow! Whether you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift or want the one-of-a-kind bobblehead for yourself, grab a holiday pack today by going to jaguars.com/bobblehead or call 904-633-2000 now.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harrell & Harrell and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Welcome back to the program. We sure appreciate our friends from the Nimnick family of dealers. One more time, it's Nimnick Chevrolet on Cassett, Nimnick Buick GMC on Phillips Highway. Frangie Carlyon La Selva with you. They're obviously poorly coached, the Gators. He obviously, to your point earlier, doesn't have a great eye for talent, which is the part that surprises me the most, or I certainly can't get them because they don't have a very talented team. That part was pretty obvious too, even though we came to believe they did. Some of the penalties. They had two roughing the passers. In this day and age, every defensive lineman knows you have to pull up the split second that ball's out. Roughing the passer has never been called with the regularity it's called now with. And Florida had two of them. Everybody knows. The minute that ball, it's not just you have time to let him finish his follow-through. You don't have to wait. The minute the ball's out of his hands, you stop. Two of those. The one timeout after the touchback, after a kickoff and a touchback, when they couldn't get the play in, that's a coaching issue.
After a TV timeout.
After a TV timeout. Right. After a TV timeout. That was very, very, very clear. Some of the play calling. The 2nd and 10 runs, the 3rd and 5 runs, like you've got someone that's going to break one. Montero Johnson's a guy. Maybe he's better than just a guy, but so
and you have no offensive lineman that any good program would want.
So obviously it looks like it's a poorly coached team. There's no getting around that. The play calling. You know, one difference between Mario Cristobal and Billy Napier, there's probably a bunch, but one I'm going to point out. Mario Cristobal went and got a staff. Shannon Dawson is a really good play caller. He is in that Hal Mummy, started with Hal Mummy. Then it was Mike Leach and Dana Holgerson and Lincoln Riley, that true air raid where they're ahead of the game now. They figured out how to do isolation. Mario Cristobal went and got that guy. Billy Napier is going to call it himself with his pistol formations. And it obviously is not exotic at all. That's one of the differences. He's stubborn. It's clear he's stubborn. It's clear he's going to stick to your point about you. I've always griped about uniforms. Don't tell me before the season what uniform you're wearing in the freaking Georgia game. That should be a feel, man. You should feel how the game feels. There was the seniors came in and said, Coach, we want to wear all orange this week. There's none of that. There's too buttoned up, too organized, because you have to have some feel and some gut and some knack. There's no knack in play calling. No idea when to call the trick plays. I don't even think fundamentally they're very good when you watch the receivers come out of routes and whatnot.
They're not.
So clearly it doesn't look like a very well-coached team. I will equate – here's why I think it's not going to work. I never talk politics, okay? And I'm never going to talk politics. I don't care I don't care if you're right, left, red, blue. I don't care about that. But we all watch what happens. I will equate Billy Napier's performance to the Biden debate. Stay with me on this. Again, regardless of who you're for, when that debate happened, everybody knew it was a disaster. The Republicans all thought they loved it because Biden can't win. The Democrats all hated it because they thought Biden couldn't win. I don't think going into that debate it was going to be a referendum on Biden, but it became one because it went so badly. That's why it became a referendum. That's what I think here. I don't think losing to Miami was going to be a referendum necessarily on Billy Napier, but because it went so badly, it became one. And that's what I equate it to. It's very similar to that for me. I don't think he can make it now. I think
I'll take Joe Biden as coach.
Well played. I don't think the best things you said before we started the show, and I tried to laugh. I tried to open the show laughing. Right before we went on, he looked at JJ and goes, I think I would just forfeit the next 11 game, which is fantastic. But look, I think now it's hard. The noise is deafening now. The last time the noise was this loud was Ron Zook. And I will maintain forever it shouldn't have been. Ron Zook's 3 years went to the Outback Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, the Peach Bowl. They never lost more than 4 games in a regular season, and they went to bowl games. But for whatever reason, the noise was deafening. This noise is louder. And sometimes the noise is so deafening that there's nothing you can do about it, Hays. So I think that's one thing where we are. So stay with me because I'm rambling a little bit, but I want to get to something. I think you have to do something. I don't know what it is. I don't know who the interim would be. I really don't know what you do as an interim coach.
It can be Albert the alligator for all I care.
But I tell you. So is there any way Billy Napier could save himself? Probably not. But if you're smart enough, go ahead. You look
no.
Okay.
I'm good.
I always
the
see
floor is yours.
The smirk coming. But when you're Billy Napier, listen, it's a lost cause now. So if I'm Napier, I'm like, I would play Lagway because the one thing that gives them hope, I'll give Zook credit. When that noise got loud, he stuck his prize recruit Chris Leak in there, and it didn't quiet it, but it quieted it a little bit. I would play Lagway. I would have him throw or run on every down. I would try and beat an FCS team that I think you're going to beat this week. So you need something to make people feel good about you or at least the program. And I'm the biggest Mertz defender. You know I'm a Mertz defender before he ever got there. And I'm sorry he's got a concussion. I hope he's healthy. But I'd play Lagway because you need some hope. Even if Graham Mertz plays well against Samford, that doesn't provide any hope. He's a 56-year guy that's an average quarterback. Lagway can give you hope. So if I'm Billy Napier, I'm trying to find some hope. One thing I'm going to say that everybody disagrees with. I don't tie it to Strickland. I think this narrative has developed that fire Strickland too. Well, firing an AD who missed on some football coaches has never been a thing. Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, Penn State, USC, blue bloods of the highest order were not out there firing the AD. They missed on a bunch of coaches, but they weren't out there firing the AD. I think he's a very good AD. I think the reality is they had the worst facilities in the SEC. Now they have among the best in the nation. The football standalone facility is unreal. The Exactech Arena looks like a little NBA arena now. The baseball stadium is as good as the country, as good as there is in the country. Softball's really good. NIL seems to be fully funded from what you're told now. He hired a really good basketball coach, I think. I think he's well respected. He's on the basketball selection committee because I think if you fired Scott Strickland, he'd pop up at Penn State, Auburn, LSU, North Carolina faster than you know. I think he's a really good AD. So I don't tie the two together. But I do think you got to evaluate the hiring process. If people are mad at Scott Strickland, he hired Cameron Neubauer, who's a bad basketball coach and a bad guy, and he got rid of him as soon as that's all started to surface. He's very supportive of the other coaches. I mean, they're in the top 5 in the Directors Cup. He's a good AD. That's my opinion. But you have to analyze the hiring process rather than just the AD. Let's really get together because when you hire, this time you have to go out and hire a proven coach. Well, we've tried the up and coming enough. I think you got to somehow look what Boston College did last night. They went and hired a guy that won 5 straight AFC South titles. He must be pretty good. And he's a grown-up, and he knows how to do it. So I think the hiring process is going to happen. I think it's going to happen. I don't think Billy Napier makes it to midseason. I'm not that guy. You know me. That's never been my take. But I think you saw the coaching inadequacies. He's stubborn to a fault. His recognition of players doesn't seem to be good. I think they will beat Samford. Hays, I don't know how many games they win after this. I really don't. The bad thing is if you were just reasonably good after watching A&M, they're beatable. UCF is good, but they're not, and they hung over 50, but I think they're beatable if you're good. If you're not very good, I think Florida's not very good. I really think you're looking at a 2 or 3 win season. I think it's realistic. So that's what I think. That's what I would do if I was Napier to try and get better. I don't think he will do that, but that's what I would do. Given the way it is now, I think the noise is just going to get louder, and I'd be surprised if he makes it to November.
Well, and I'll give you another example. So Austin Barber actually is a pretty good left tackle. I said all the offensive linemen are terrible. Austin Barber is actually a pretty serviceable left tackle.
I agree with that.
So in this game, Billy Napier decides that Devin Manuel, because he's had such a great camp, he's going to replace Barber on the 3rd, 6th, and 9th possessions of the game. Austin Barber grades out very well. Devon Manuel, I think, may have blocked somebody at some point, but maybe once or twice. You just don't do that. Like, that's the sign of a bad football coach. No NFL coach would do this. Would say, you know what? Hey, we got this great guy in Walker Little. He's deserved it. He's had a good camp. He's done everything we've asked. We're going to take Cam Robinson out on the 3rd, 6th, and 9th series Sunday against the Dolphins and let Walker Little play because, gosh darn it, he's had a good camp and he deserves it. It is asinine to do that if your starting left tackle is playing good football. You may go into a game thinking that, and if you're going to go into a game thinking that, it's this kind of game. Samford. That's where that's where you reward the guy with maybe a little bit of a platoon in a game where you're going up against, obviously, what should be an outmanned opponent. You don't do it when your career is at stake. That's the idiocy that you're dealing with here. And again, it's just one example. I hope he coaches all 12 games because I want him to endure having to coach this roster. So I hope they fire him the morning after the Florida State loss. That would be on December 1st. The portal doesn't open until December 9th. So there's no real reason to fire him earlier. I would make him coach this team for 11 more games so that he can endure it. And then you fire him on December 1st. And you've got about 8 days, but at that point, you're not extending your portal window because you fired a coach. So they don't have to fire him earlier. They probably will, just because Florida's going to want to do things above board. So they're probably going to fire him around mid-October. I would agree with you. Maybe after the morning after the Georgia game, which will be 90-0. Maybe they do it then.
90 final or like halftime?
Yeah. So that you don't have to back channel anything. And in terms of Scott Strickland, I'm fine if he stays on as athletic director, but to me it's, okay, Scott, you can keep your job, but the coach better be Lane Kiffin or Jed Fish. And if it isn't, you're fired.
I'd be surprised if Strickland gets caught up in it, but we'll see. I do think so. We're going to go to break because I want to get to the Knowles. But I do think this. And I'm not as mad at Napier as you are. I'm not mad at him. He did the best he could. He's not the right guy.
I'm not. I
don't care.
To me, there's just so much evidence of just how ill-equipped he is.
But
I'm not mad at him.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I just think he's terrible.
Yeah, I don't need him to be there all 11 games. We can endure it. But I'll tell you this: if he's a smart guy. If you're smarter than you are you smarter or are you more macho? That's what it is right now. It comes down to smart or macho. Which are you more of? Because if you're smarter, then you'll do what I said earlier, and you'll try and find a way to give some hope. The only hope left is Lagway. And you're right. If he plays a lot, he might turn it over and be. He's the only hope left now. There's no
without a doubt.
Yeah. So if you want to breathe some hope into, because let me tell you this. Let's say they play him, and let's say he's good. And all of a sudden, A&M's not very good offensively. You win 2 or 3 games. You get to Knoxville 4-1 or 3-2. At least the noise quiet. You might get fired anyway, but at least the noise quiets a little. I would be trying to quiet the noise if I was him. We'll take a break. When we come back, what happened to the Knowles? What do they do to fix their situation? That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Are you thinking about upgrading your outdoor space with artificial turf? Well, you're going to love working with Caleb at Sunshine Turf. He's genuine, always on time, and really trustworthy. Frank Frangie here. We had Sunshine Turf design and install turf at the Bragan Baseball Complex, and it's gorgeous and maintenance-free. From putting greens to pet runs around pools and more, Sunshine Turf can do it all. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Frank Frangie here.
These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Oh, it's that time of year. Winning season is back. Football is back. And MyBookie's here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. They do such a fantastic job. They've got live betting. If a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, that's something to look to take advantage of. They also have a fantastic loyalty program. Loyalty pays off with MyBookie. The more you play, the more you win. It's simple. Climb through the tiers of the loyalty rewards program to unlock even more epic promotions, exclusive giveaways, and bigger rewards. MyBookie is the lock of the century. It's going to be such a fun season again. They've got prop bets as well. If you can think about it, if you can imagine it, MyBookie is going to deliver it for you. When you sign up, be sure to use promo code 1010XL to lock in some bonus on your first deposit. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make sure your season is a winning season with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Hey guys, this is David Garrard, and I want to tell you about Clearwater Irrigation. They put my new sprinkler system in at my new home at Jack's Beach, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, hey, John.
What's up, Dave? You know what this means. You're going to have to sing.
Man, I can't sing.
Then you'll fit right in, buddy. Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. Hit it, Dave.
And drainage, too.
ClearwaterJacks.com. Tony Baselli gets up early Monday morning to share a big football breakfast with you.
Some French toast and sausage patties.
Hall of Fame Monday, 7:20 with Dan and Jeff on the Drill. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Are your toilets flushing slow? Shower drain starting to back up? Bad smells? These are all major signs that your septic tank needs to be pumped out. Call Duck Duck Rooter to schedule today. The EPA recommends you get your septic tank pumped out every 3 years. Call now if it's due. 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Rooter is Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor that is fully insured. See our Google reviews. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com. 904-862-6769.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
It's not often that a team uses a draft pick on a kicker, but the Jaguars saw something special in Arkansas kicker Cam Little when they selected him in the 6th round of this year's draft. The rookie has shown to be extremely accurate, going a perfect 129 of 129 in his college career with extra points, and drilled a 56-yarder in-game last year. Here's special teams coordinator Heath Farwell on his excitement for his new weapon.
I mean, he has great leg strength. So, I mean, I think those longer kicks of 62, 63 yards are possible. And that's a credit to him.
Little, who has a big leg, will be a very valuable weapon for the Jags when it comes to putting points on the board this season. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on the Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Thanks to our friends at Nimnick. Nimnick Tuesday continues on. Frangie, Carlyon, La Selva. So the Noles lose in Dublin in a game that was sort of a back-and-forth game. DJ Uiagalelei looks good on a fourth-quarter drive. Converted 2 fourth downs, put the ball on the money. They tie the game up. Georgia Tech comes back and wins it with a field goal at the gun. You think, okay, Georgia Tech's better than you thought. FSU's got a lot of new guys. That had something to do with it. Here comes Boston College. Now, you knew they had a good running game. They ran for 129 on you last year, 152 on you last year. And they had a good running quarterback who's from right up the road, by the way, in Waycross. You got gutted. I mean, Florida State got truly outplayed badly last night. So now what if you're the Noles? The schedule isn't nearly as daunting as Florida's, but you're already 0-2. You only play 12, okay? You run the table, you only got to 10 wins. You've got to play at Notre Dame. You've got to play at Miami. You got to play home against Clemson. So, and again, Clemson didn't look good, but Georgia's really good.
Memphis might beat them in 2 weeks.
Memphis can throw the football. You're at SMU, who can throw the football. So what about FSU? This is the third time in 5 years Mike Norvell started 0-2. So people don't realize that, but I'm not all of a sudden thinking Mike Norvell's a bad coach. I think he's a good coach. But you've learned the portal stuff doesn't always work. And you got beat at the line of scrimmage. I'll tell you some things I like. I still think their receivers are good. Number 1, number 10 are good players. Morlock, is it Warlock or Morlock, the tight
Warlock,
end?
Yeah.
Had a huge drop.
Huge drop.
But I think he's a good player.
Their special teams are phenomenal.
Their kicker and punter are very good. Their coverage teams are good. I think they'll find their way with their back. Number 3, Davis, the freshman running back, the big one. I think he's a good-looking back. He's physical. He's burly. But so I think you'll start working through some of that. Here's the problem nobody wants to talk about. Is the quarterback not any good? Because what do you do then? You got Luke Kromenhoek, who is the true freshman.
Mm-hmm. Like Lagway.
And you've got Brock Glenn, who's just a guy, more athletic. What do you do if you got the wrong quarterback? There's no fallback. So
I mean, how he missed that receiver in the end zone last night. I mean, that's one you've got to hit 99 times if you're a high school quarterback.
You got to hit that one. So my point is, what do you do if you're FSU? Do you start getting Luke some reps? Yeah, you got a week off, so you got some week. You got time to work on stuff. Do you split the game between Kromenhoek and I have no idea how far along he is. Do you split the game between DJU and Kromenhoek? Is Brock Glenn in play? Because don't think for a minute that everyone says there's more to it than just a quarterback. Yeah, but that quarterback's a big part of this. A big part of this. What do you do?
My guess is what Mike Norvell will do is really focus on the trenches during the bye and fix that. Because honestly, even if they were getting decent quarterback play, they can't run the ball and they can't stop the run. And until those two things change, their ceiling is going to be 7-5 anyway, regardless of the quarterback. Because again, I don't believe Florida may have played a team that might win 11 games. I don't think Georgia Tech or Boston College are headed to that.
Agreed.
I think Florida State just lost to two teams that if they go 7-5 will throw parades. And so I think in looking at it, it's got to start there. So before I throw a true freshman quarterback in or one in Brock Glenn that's really shown nothing, I think I would be more apt to stick with DJU and just hope I can hide him if I can improve my run game. And I've never seen a defensive front be as hyped as this one was and be completely pushed around by two what appears to be mediocre teams in terms of the athletes that they bring in. I guess he just thought that we're going to have a big lead and it's going to be all pass rush, and I've got two defensive tackles that are lightning quick, and when teams drop back to throw it, we're going to be all over them, and maybe that will eventually materialize. But it doesn't matter if you can't stop the run, and it's not just the defensive front. Their linebackers are atrocious.
Yeah, and not only atrocious athletically, but got caught out of position time and again.
Like have no instincts for the position.
Yeah.
And in a position where it's all instincts at linebacker. You need to be a good athlete, but those linebackers make split-second decisions when the ball is snapped. It is incredible how quickly good instinctual linebackers can recognize a play as soon as the ball is snapped. These guys have no clue. It's like watching three Taven Bryans trying to play linebacker for FSU. They don't know where the ball is.
So what happens now? As you look at their schedule, it's not daunting, but you're right. Memphis isn't bad. A lot of people that are doing their projections of the 12 teams have Memphis as the group of 5 team that gets in.
And now they'll fully believe they can go in and win that game.
That's exactly, which, and we talked about belief before. So, and look, as bad as they looked against Nevada, the reality is that SMU thinks they have a good team, and that game's at home. Again, remember, FSU, they've yet to face a good passer. They've also yet to play a game in front of anybody else's crowd.
Right.
They're in Dublin, it was all FSU fans, and last night's game was in Tallahassee. At some point, they're going on the road. They have a week off. Then they've got Memphis at home. That's a noon kick. Cal at home. I have no idea if Cal's any good.
They're not.
And then here's what you got. This shouldn't be a gauntlet. We were laughing about how easy it was before the season, but once you're not good, at SMU, home against Clemson, at Duke, who's not what they once were, but you're at Duke, at Miami.
That's going to be a bloodbath.
Okay. Home against North Carolina, who's not terrible now. They're having to play the backup quarterback now, who's just okay.
But they will have athletes.
Right, they will. Then it's at Notre Dame, and then the last two are Charleston Southern and a team that's worse than Charleston Southern.
Correct.
Florida.
Then they get the gimme in the Florida Gators.
Right. So they really, Florida, I'm telling you, Florida could be looking at 2 wins. Realistically, 2 or 3 wins. They could be looking at 2 or 3 wins. I don't think Florida State's going to win 2 or 3. But they could be looking at 5 or 6.
I think 5 and 7's on the table.
Yeah, it is on the table.
That'd be going 5 and 5 in your final 10.
Yeah.
Which, based on what we've seen in these first 2, I think
I do
is
too.
Absolutely plausible.
It is truly astounding to me. Honest to God, Hays, it is astounding to me that in this day and age, those 2 proud programs with all those resources and all the players around here they are 0-3 and 0-3 and really have been outplayed all 3 games. I know Georgia Tech needed a field goal to win it, but they were outplayed in that game.
That was no fluke.
Yeah. And last night should have been 35-13 if Bill O'Brien didn't take a knee. And Florida got beat 41-17. It should have been 48.
Boston College didn't play a perfect game. I'll give you an example of 2 plays that happened on top of each other early in the game. Boston College throws a wheel route on 3rd down.
That's right.
The kid's wide open.
He's still running.
Drops the ball.
The former FSU player.
And he had a good game.
Yeah.
But he drops the ball there. Right. That would have been, at worst, 1st and goal at the 8.
Yeah.
At worst. On the next play, Boston College punts it, gets a great punt, but the guy trying to field it, for some unknown reason, is a step into the end zone.
Right.
So it's a touchback.
Guy trying to down it.
So it wasn't like BC played anywhere close to a perfect game. Right. They hid their quarterback too when it comes to throwing the ball.
Right.
And what would drive me crazy if I was Mike Norvell, to seal the game, Boston College literally just ran like 3 plays.
I know.
And the Florida State linebackers still
Right.
Had no idea it was coming.
The play they used was Castellanos when he would roll out, fake it like a pitch back.
Right.
There was nobody
No
there.
one.
He ran for 25 yards almost every time they ran it. And so there's no adjustment. So, so what does it do? Florida, you know where they're headed. I think we know where they're headed.
Yes. There's going to be a new coach next year.
It failed. There's going to be a new coach next year. I don't think there's much of a discussion about that anymore. There's going to be a new coach next year. We have plenty of weeks to talk about who that might be, but there's going to be a new coach. FSU can't run off their coach.
No.
He just won 23 games in the last 2 seasons.
Oh, he just signed a 10-year extension.
And he just signed a 10-year deal, 10-year extension. Good point, JJ. Yet they got to. If you're headed to 5-7, what do? You just grin and bear it this year.
Yeah, and bear it.
Yeah.
And hope that Mike Norvell makes adjustments to his staff and in how he builds the team and everything like that. But, I mean, you've got to be concerned because you're stuck with him. And so if he really was Jordan Travis and that's it, and Jared Verse and down the line, if that was Mike Norvell, just fell into an incredible situation with guys that he got in the portal, then they're in trouble because that obviously is – I don't think it's there yet. I think that this is what's going to happen when you lean on the portal. There's going to be some years where you swing and miss. So – you know, in the old way of doing it in terms of high school recruiting is how we're going to build our roster, it never allowed for the powers to have these peaks and valleys. Because, yeah, you might have a recruiting class that didn't live up to maybe the ranking, but you had another recruiting class coming in the next year that probably was going to cover a lot of that if you were one of the blue chip programs. So you were always going to hover somewhere between 8 and 12 wins. Well, now putting so many of your chips onto the portal, you're allowing for the peaks and valleys to come in. It could be great if you hit on everything, but now you're also seeing the converse of that in Tallahassee if you hit on the wrong guys or if you choose the wrong guys. And that's what it appears like they're headed towards because I don't think their problems can be fixed. Like the plane is now taken off. You're in the middle of the air. Like there's no you can't fix anything in flight. Like and so this plane isn't landing until your 12th game is over. And I don't think they have anything in house that's going to solve that. They can't run the ball and they can't stop the run.
We'll take a break. Let's bring in Matt Hays to talk SEC football. A quick glimpse around what happened in the other SEC teams. That comes up after this. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Duval. That's right, I'm Tommy Mack, and it's all about Duval and defense. Offense, special teams, baby. Check me out every Friday from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Mortgage rates have plummeted, and Loan Pronto clients are locking in the lowest rates we've seen in years. Hey, it's Roger Moore, founder and CEO of Loan Pronto. It's happening. We are finally locking APRs in the 5s, something we haven't seen for a long time. If that sky-high rate is killing you or you need to get cash out of your home equity, now is the time to take action. Or listen, even if you want to keep that first mortgage rate intact, you can take advantage of lower rates with our Equity Express line of credit. We're seeing homeowners take $50, $75, $200 grand or more out of their equity and wiping out that high-interest debt. with an average savings of $850 per month. Bottom line, your home value is way up and mortgage rates have come way down, making this a great time to act. Call today for a 30-second rate quote. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Green Law Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Green Law Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Green Law Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Green Law Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
Stay in touch with the stars of Coral Gables.
From South Beach to Jax Beach, stay on A1A for the latest from Miami on the Hurricane Report.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
On 1010XL.
Get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Welcome to ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner and home to Xerox copiers. From IT management to VoIP phone systems, Advanced Business Solutions is the right name to know.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Steve Johnson.
Welcome to the show, Steve.
It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you don't have to answer in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show?
See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay. How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions? Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions. Repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity. Making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot?
You're killing me, Steve.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
At Hodges Mazda, we are proud of our solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. Lauren Brooks here. As your hometown Mazda dealer, our high customer service standards and our huge inventory of new and used cars provide our customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Our professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first. Plus, every vehicle purchase comes with 2 years free maintenance. What Mazda moves you? Find out. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
What's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. In Miami's 41-17 beatdown over Florida on Saturday, Florida Gator quarterback Graham Mertz suffered a concussion late in the third quarter on a pass that unfortunately was intercepted. Mertz left the game, which cleared way for freshman 5-star DJ Lagway to check into the game. With Mertz's status for this Saturday's game as questionable, Billy Napier said there's a chance Lagway will make his first start of his career against an FCS opponent, Samford, this Saturday at 7 o'clock in the Swamp.
I've got a ton of confidence in DJ. I think we've had him since January. He's a completely different person and player than he was when he first arrived. So he's got a really good knowledge of our system. I do think coach to player helps a young quarterback, right? So there's an advantage there that maybe you wouldn't have had a year ago.
It's 85 degrees at 4 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Hi, my buddy Matt Hays is going to join us some on the program. Nobody talks college football better. He'll do SEC talk with us, so it'll be all SEC. But I got to start with our two teams. I know you probably weighed in on it. Matt, give me an overview. How shocked were you that Florida and FSU are both that bad?
It's speechless. Actually, I'm speechless about it, to be honest, because I can't imagine a coach who pushed more for a specific year and sold it as, look, we are going to be much better. I mean, there were guys in the media. Our buddy Mark Long said he thought they could win 9 or 10 games from the way those guys were talking.
Right.
9 or 10 wins. I mean, they're going to be lucky to win 3, 4 maybe.
Right.
That and Florida State is, I said all offseason when you guys were asking about DJU that I wanted to wait and see because he is what he is. And, Mike Norvell has a very good track record of developing quarterbacks, but that's a big overhaul in about 8 months. And I just wanted to see it. And he's basically the same guy. And you can't keep hoping to hit time after time after time on portal guys and thinking it's going to all work out. And I think that's kind of where they are. It's like a perfect storm for them right now.
Yeah, and I think the same thing, man. All right, let's get to the other SEC teams. We've been talking enough Gators and Knowles. We'll get back to that coming up with our callers in just a bit. Let's start with the Dogs. Are the Dogs that good?
Wow.
Is Clemson that bad? If you had to do a matrix there, what did you take out of that game?
So I think Clemson's a lot better than people think they are. I think the panic about Dabo in the portal is just way overblown. Should he use the portal? Of course he should. But the idea that this is a terrible Clemson team, I think, is ridiculous. Their defense is fantastic. And they just got worn out. They just couldn't stay on the field and continue to watch their offense go 3 and out. So I think Clemson's going to be okay once they can figure out a quarterback, if they can, whether it's Klubnik or whether it's Vizina. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. But they got to get somebody that can at least move the ball. As far as Georgia, my God, Frank, they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal. I mean, I think all of us kind of hope that SEC championship game last year might have brought them back to the pack a little bit. Excuse me, when they lost to Alabama, and then they show up in this game like this, and they just got young stars all over that defense. I mean, Jalen Walker, my goodness, C.J. Allen. I mean, you just go guy after guy on that defense. And I told Danny Thompson this earlier today. I truly believe this defense has a chance to be better than the 2021 defense.
It's pretty amazing stuff. And I will tell you, just watching that game, because there weren't a lot of games on, really athletic. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through all these teams. They all scored a boatload of points. Tennessee scored 69. Texas scored 53. Mississippi State scored 56. Ole Miss scored 76. Alabama scored 63. Auburn scored 73. So they all played a bunch of nobodies. Of that group of teams, who surprised you the most, or who will? Is it Texas? Is it Tennessee? Because with Nico, that group of teams that all scored 60 or 70 points there, Matt, which ones grabbed you the most as you looked at those scores?
Well, not including Vandy, which clearly grabbed me the most by meeting Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech. I think they're all kind of in the same boat, Frank. They really weren't tested.
Yeah.
I think Alabama, if you really want to take something away from Alabama, I mean, it's a bad team they played. No doubt about it. Western Kentucky's just not that good of a team. But Alabama's kind of, for like the last 2 years, they were kind of in a situation where they had lost a little bit of that recruiting mojo magic at wide receiver, where they would just get elite wide receiver after elite wide receiver and just plug them in as freshmen and they would just go. And if you watch, I don't know if you watched Ryan Williams against Western Kentucky, he caught 2 passes. 2 passes. He averaged 69.5 yards a catch.
Wow.
Here's the best part about Ryan Williams, okay? The 5-star receiver. He's 17. He's not turning 18 until February.
Wow.
He reclassified. He's a young dude who really is he's going to change things for them. I'm telling you, he can run, and he's one of those guys that glides. He reminds me a lot of like when Amari Cooper first got there, where you're like, whoa. You know, you can just tell by the way they run, routes, by the way they explode after a catch. He's like that type of player. You know, Texas looked really good, really efficient. I like Ole Miss. I've liked Ole Miss all off season. I just think they've got so much at receiver. I think they're the best receiving core in the country. And Jackson Dart he is really developed now. Year 3 as a starter. He's ready to really become one of the best, if not top 3 quarterbacks in all of college football. Right near the end of that game, I don't know if anybody was watching it, but I don't know if you saw Austin Simmons get in there late. Boy, that kid can play.
Yeah.
That's a 6'4", tall drink of water, I'll tell you what. He's going to be a really good player for them. That's the kid that Florida initially thought was a done deal. He was going to Florida last year, and then he went to Ole Miss. He's going to be a really good player.
Nico Iamaleava, you can't tell much because Tennessee didn't play a very good team either. Did you see enough? And what is your thought about him? Will he be all the rage, worth the money, as they say, this year?
He's so smooth, man. I mean, he just the way he throws the ball is effortless. He just kind of flicks it.
Yeah.
You know, and again, they also played no one.
Right.
But I think I always go back to that bowl game last year against Iowa when he was playing one of the best defenses in the country in his first start. And he did not wilt in the moment. He played pretty well. And I kind of knew right then, wait a second, they got something there. And, you know, obviously he's a huge recruit. You know, obviously we'd seen, you know, practice throws from him from Tennessee, but you saw something in the Iowa game, and then this past game, it just looks very easy for him, Frank. And I don't know what's going to happen once the SEC games hit, but if he's that same type of player, if he's more Hendon Hooker than he is Joe Milton, Tennessee's going to be a problem for a lot of teams.
Matt Hays with us talking SEC football. All right, let's talk about the close games. Maybe the best game of the weekend, Southern Cal or USC versus LSU. I thought it was a fantastic game. Ryan Kelly, who you know really well, Matt knows all these guys really well, was really upset after that game. As upset as I've seen him, he even admitted it's as mad as he's been since he's been the LSU coach. What did you make of that game? Because it looks like to me LSU is going to be pretty good. Garrett Nussmeier, I thought, looked great. What did you think of LSU, and what did you make of the game?
Yeah, I think offensively they're very good, and I think they're going to get there defensively. They're just not – I don't think they're comfortable with each other yet. You know, Brian has always been a guy that will call out his team and call out players, and he hadn't done that yet at LSU. He kind of did it with Jaden Daniels, but not really to a negative extent. He just said Jaden's got to learn to start throwing into tight windows, and he did, and you know he went off. I want to see how this team reacts to that. Like, he was very upset. You know, you're banging on the table and screaming. He clearly was not happy. So I want to see how that team reacts to that. And I think that my biggest takeaway from that game, Frank, honestly, is the USC defense with Dan Lynn, the new defensive coordinator, came over from UCLA. They were bigger, number one. They looked much faster, number two. And number three, they kind of reminded me of those Pete Carroll defenses. Yeah. They were kind of like setting the tone of that game. And I was shocked by that, absolutely shocked, because we've all seen the USC defense the last 2 years under Lincoln Riley. It's horrific. And it's a completely different unit right now.
All right, a couple other. Vanderbilt beating Tech. You said that was a game that caught your eye. Mine too. Were they bad? By the way, Vanderbilt was up 17-0 in that game. Virginia Tech came back, took the lead. Then it got tied. Vanderbilt had a chance to win it in regulation, missed a field goal, then won it in overtime. Are they better? Or is Virginia Tech overrated, or a little of both? What?
Oh, I think they're much better. I think they have a quarterback now.
Yeah.
I mean, Diego Pavia is the real deal. He's like that. That's a guy that I think not many people knew about in the transfer portal because it was New Mexico State.
Right.
But if you watch that game against Auburn last year when they went into Auburn, and they beat the heck out of Auburn in that game. You know, I think they add him. They also, here's another great and very undervalued addition, Jerry Kill.
Yeah,
he
brought Pavia with him, right? He's the guy that brought
Pavia with him, right? Yeah. Jerry Kill was the head coach of New Mexico State, the former Minnesota coach. He did great things at Minnesota. You know, he had the seizure problem, so that kind of forced him out.
Right.
And then he came back to New Mexico State. Then he had problems with the administration in New Mexico State because they weren't going to be committed to building the program the right way, and he left. And Clark Lee hired him, and he brought his quarterback with him. And I'll tell you what, Vandy looked like a completely different team last weekend. Completely different.
Let's look ahead real quick before we let you get out of here. What a good week. Texas and Michigan, 3 versus 10. Is Texas for real? Is Michigan for real? Who do you like in this game, Matt?
I was really nervous about Michigan, the way they struggled with Fresno State. And I hear people saying that, well, they didn't show anything. It wasn't a big game. Believe me, they were up 6. It was a one-possession game deep into the fourth quarter. They were doing everything they could to win that game. And I think the issue is going to be, is Davis Warren. Is he a guy that can throw the ball downfield for them? Because I think they're very good on defense. And they're going to be able to run the ball, even though it's a brand-new offensive line. But that's going to be this will be a big test for them, and it'll be a big test for the Texas offense. They've got a lot of weapons in that Texas offense, and now you're going to face an elite defense, probably the best defense they've faced since the 2022 Alabama team.
Who do you like as we sit here? Who wins the game?
I think Texas is going to find a way to win late in that game, but it's not going to be easy.
NC State is at Tennessee. I think it's at Tennessee. That's a heck of a
neutral site game.
Oh, it is. My
neutral
bad.
Site at Charlotte. Yeah.
My bad. Charlotte, you're right. NC State, Tennessee, 24-14. Who wins here? Tell me about the game.
Again, if Nico is that guy that throws with that comfort and that is very poised, which he looks very poised, he's also a threat with his legs too that we haven't seen yet. I think Tennessee wins going away.
Alabama goes to Wisconsin. Any trouble there for the Tide, or is that one easy?
I don't know if it's easy. I think it's just a different environment for them. It's a different environment for those players. It's a different road trip. It's everything about it is different. So I think it might lead to a little uncertainty for like a quarter and a half. But they're a much better team than Wisconsin, and I think Wisconsin's still dealing with the issues of trying to get that offense right. I don't know much. I don't know about Tyler Van Dyke. He looked okay in the opener.
Yeah.
They were playing an overmatched team. He just looked okay. So I think it may take a quarter and a half, but Bam will get it right, and I think they'll win going away.
All right, final thing, we'll let you go. What's going to happen at Florida? Does he make it to November? I mean, the noise is deafening right now, Matt, just deafening after that game. What's the end game here?
So there's a dynamic in play. When Ben Sass resigned as president, Dr. Fox came in and came back. He's the interim president. He was the president who hired Billy Napier. He was the president who hired Scott Strickland. So for him to fire either one of them is going to be admitting he failed as well.
Right.
Because ultimately he hired Scott Strickland and he hired Billy Napier. And I don't know if you saw this. There was a video going around after the game. Billy was walking off the field.
I saw it.
And Dr. Fox stopped him and was giving him words of encouragement. But, Frank, you and I, we talk about this all the time. You can talk all you want about money. You can talk all you want about, the program's in a better shape. When fan apathy hits, that's the death knell. That's when it begins, and I think that's where they're at right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd be surprised if he makes it to November, and that's totally different than what I thought a week ago. So it'll be interesting to see. Matt's going to be with me every Tuesday, 5 o'clock, talking SEC football. Can't wait. Matt, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Okay, bud.
All right, we'll do that every Tuesday. Matt loves to do it. I love talking SEC. Matt and I go to these SEC media days together a lot, So we talk SEC football on the road. We'll do it here as well. We'll borrow them from Joe and Leon and the boys on prime time for one day a week. When we come back, let's open up the phone lines. It's not a shout. It's just your calls. There's not a time limit. There's not music under it. Just want to know what you think. Give us your take on what you think about the Noles, about the Gators, where we're headed. It's a good day for you to weigh in. 641-1010 after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell & Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
In every game, there's a limited number of drives.
Our best, here we go!
And there's only one drive of the game.
That's a good old-fashioned rear-end whipping.
Listen for the Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville drive of the game on 1010XL.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. While we've earned the reputation as North Florida and South Georgia's preeminent official Rolex jeweler, it's important to point out that at Underwoods we carry other watches too. We start with Seiko, the most reliable, serviceable watch made for under $500. And they've started making jeweled, self-winding watches again, and sports watches you'd have to see to believe. Next we have Tavan, the Swiss-made ladies and men's and dress and sport watches, and they start at $575. Another name we carry is Tudor, inspired by Rolex with the same founder and owner, the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. And their sport watches and chronographs are the rage in Swiss timekeeping, with new in-house watch movements and exciting new model introductions every year. So if you're interested in watches, we have what you want at Underwood's. And all of our watches carry a 5-year warranty. At Underwood's in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops at Ponte Vedra.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Embrace the start of football season with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, and you got to check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag, register for a free account, use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 3-point underdog at the Dolphins. The over-under is 49 points. The Texans are a 2.5-point road favorite over the Colts. And the Cowboys are getting 2.5 points at the Browns. There are tons of cool prop bets as well. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our 2 blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville where you can score big all season long.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th. Go!
There's something special about football under the Friday night lights.
Clear eyes, full hearts.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Salvatore's famous pizza now in Jacksonville, Tapestry Park off Southside Boulevard. In honor of our favorite player, number 16, Salvatore's large pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping, only $16. Coupon at salvatores.com. Dine in, pick up, and delivery. $16 for a large Salvatore's pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping. Coupon at salvatores.com. Tax and delivery extra.
Lauren Brooks here. If you're in pain and you think you've tried everything, I've got a solution for you. The team at Active Health Jax treats the source of the problem, not just the pain, so you can avoid surgery, cortisone injections, and pain medications. I've had neck aches for years, and I've tried everything from acupunctures to massages with no results. Within minutes of my evaluation and treatment, the tension was gone. It was amazing. Active Health Jax can help you too. Give them a call at 904-296-0202 today or visit them online at activehealthjax.com.
At Farah & Farah, our philosophy can be boiled down to one word: respect. Respect for every client regardless of who they are or the size of their case. Respect for innocent victims, and respect for the law. So when the insurance company thinks they can bully you instead of paying a claim, we respectfully disagree. If you're hurt, call Farah & Farah. We'll help you get the respect you deserve. Call 800-500-5555. Jacksonville,
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on the Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
All right, Frangie and Carlyon, JJ LaSelva with you. Let's take some calls now. We want you to weigh in and tell us kind of what you think. I think we're going to start with Clay, who's up first. Clay, go ahead. What do you think of this weekend?
Hey, Frank. Hey, JJ. Look, guys, real simple, real quick. We're in a little bit of a rut from our college teams. Billy can't coach his way out of a box. DJU couldn't hit a stop sign if a school bus of kids depended on it. It doesn't matter, though, baby, because the Jags are going to go skin some stinkfish on Sunday, and I'm going to be a happy camper on Victory Monday. I love you guys. Keep up the great work. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Thanks, Clay. That is, the Jaguars being good now really matters more. Not that it doesn't always matter,
yes.
but he makes a good point.
Feel free to go win 12 games.
Because and dog fans are saying we got something. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But well put, Clay. 641-1010. We just want to know what you think of the weekend has passed. Jason, you're up next. Go ahead, Jason.
Thanks for taking the call, guys. Most wonderful time of the year. I think FSU offense, we put in one of the young guys. If he can make the throws, which I believe they can better than DJU, it really fixes the offense and the run game. Defense, another story. Napier has set the Gators back 3 years, and you guys are 3 years out. As far as the Jags and Dolphins, fins up, baby, 31-13. Let's go.
Ooh, okay, Jason. Let me go back to the first thing you said. By the way, 641-1010. We're going to put you on the air if you give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Interesting point about playing one of the young guys at FSU. I'm going to get to that in a second because he thought he made a good point. Let me go to Nikki first, though. Nikki's been waiting. Nikki, go ahead, please.
Thanks for taking my call. My family has had season tickets at the University of Florida for more than 40 years until this year. We got rid of our season tickets. I don't like the way the university is going, the football team, the whole university. I think it needs an overhaul, and I'm really sad about it. So,
well, what about? It wasn't just football that you canceled, right? You canceled. Why'd you? Is that right? Am I understanding you right?
Yeah, we canceled all of it.
Okay. So you're not just mad at football. You're mad at a lot of stuff, right?
It's a lot of things. I mean, when you take your child to a college recruiting fair, and the only thing the guy at the University of Florida Booth says is you have to have a 4.9. I mean, that's the first thing he says. And I'm an alumni standing there. I was embarrassed.
That's it. Okay, very good.
I was embarrassed.
Gotcha. Nikki, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I want to go back for a second to something the caller before said. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want to say it's a throwaway season for FSU. It's only been 2 games. But it might become that. I would, if Luke Kromenhoek is what they think, or Brock Glenn, I wouldn't be surprised to see a change. Not this week. No, they're off this week. They're not against Memphis. But let me correct myself. I asked Matt Hays about Alabama, Wisconsin. I apologize. That game's in 2 weeks. They play USF this week. So sorry, Alabama fans. I got that wrong. Alabama, USF this week. Alabama, Wisconsin is in a week after Saturday. So I apologize. Got that wrong. I wouldn't be surprised to see FSU go young. I really wouldn't be surprised. Now, that's tough for DJU, who they committed to. But he's been at 3 schools. He's got a lot on tape. Would not shock me.
Mike Norvell, that it's tricky because for one, you've got to smooth it over with the booster that gave you the whatever $1 million you gave to get DJU. So you've got to make sure that booster is not going to tune you out moving forward because obviously you want to keep that revenue stream coming. And then the other thing I think Mike Norvell is up against is if you believe you're going to have to go into the portal more often than not to find your quarterback, you need to give him more than just a couple of games because it's going to be a harder sell. You know, a player that's got some options might say, well, why would I go to your school?
I'm getting
if
yanked.
It doesn't work, I might have in 2 games, I might get yanked. So I think he's going to give DJU a little bit longer of a leash. But, yeah, certainly when you get to the back half of their season, I would expect to see a young quarterback.
Fair point about the message you send to the next portal guy. Well said. Let's go to Robert, who's up next. Robert, go ahead, please.
So I agree with a lot of the points, especially about bringing in like Brock Glenn. You guys have seen it with the boat. when you lose the team as a quarterback or there's a battle in the locker room, it splits them. I believe that's what FSU has going on. It's not pretty. Lifetime Noler, love the Jags, so my focus has shifted to Sundays. Going up to the Buffalo game, watch the Jags play on Monday night. Frank, where are we grabbing a steak? Take the answers off the air. Love what you do, boys.
Robert, thank you. Appreciate the call. I don't know that I sense that there's dissension in the FSU locker room yet. I don't know that I believe that.
I think they've got too many problems for it to be solely on quarterback.
Yeah, I do too. Listen, DJ had nothing to do with the fact that they get blocked like a son of a gun. Their problem is the all-world defensive line is getting knocked on its keister almost every play. That's the problem. And the gaping holes that Georgia Tech and Boston College have run through, and to your point about linebackers' inability to stay home on nakeds and bootlegs and whatnot, is a bigger problem, or certainly a similar problem. I think they got a problem at quarterback, but it's not the only problem.
Lagway is one where I could see that there are players that would prefer Lagway be the starter than Mertz, because Lagway is just a far better fit for the system. Billy Napier's system does not work with a pocket quarterback because it's not creative. It demands that position be able to give you something in the run game, which Lagway showed Saturday he can do. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are Gator players that would prefer Lagway to Mertz. I would be surprised if there's Florida State players that at this point are ready to see a new quarterback.
Chris, you're up next. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Frank. I'm from the Gators, and I had tweeted Hicken over the weekend, and he didn't like it, but it's just my opinion, and I'm not a Gator hater. But it just seems to me that over the past 15 years or so, it's become like the University of Nebraska. And I wanted to say that because I love it when Florida State has a rivalry with them. But this Gator fan doesn't have the patience. They try to. And then you look at, I don't see any recruit wanting to go there because of that instability. I hate that for them. But I think it's all about my UCF Knights this year. They might get in the top 12 with their schedule in the Big Ten.
Yeah. All right, Chris, thanks very much. Well, UCF plays Florida. Let me say this. Let me defend Fan Guy for a little bit. I think we fire our coaches too much. I think we call for the firings too much. And I hope, and I don't think Billy Napier was trying to say it's on fans. I think he was talking about not getting caught up in social media. I'm going to give him the benefit of that, what he was trying to do there. But this isn't on the fans. This isn't. The fans have showed it. They sold out every game last year. They've sold out almost every game Billy Napier's coached.
There was 90,000 people there and 140 degrees for this game.
Yeah, correct.
The fans
JJ.
are there.
Yeah, the fans show up every game. Great crowd, like JJ said. This one isn't on the fans. If the fans weren't showing up, then you could say that's not the case. This isn't. I got to defend the fans on this one. That Gator crowd, almost every game he's coached. Every home game, you've been in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Almost every home game he's coached, the fans have done their part.
The Swamp has been magnificent, and I would say that, and it'll rally around the new coach, but Florida has got to go get. You can't go get a guy in AA and say we're going to promote him to the show.
I agree with
and
that,
hope
Hayes.
that a 285 hitter in AA is a 285 hitter in the big leagues. They've got to go get a guy that is currently in the big leagues
100%.
hitting for a high average, and it's got to be an offensive-minded guy. This university, right or wrong, needs a creative, explosive offensive mind running the program. It is the identity of the Florida Gators. That should be the search. And again, the good news for Florida is it looks like they could have two interested candidates in Lane Kiffin and an alum in Jed Fish that are both very creative, offensive-minded head coaches.
But I will say this about those two coaches. As we get closer, I can't believe we're talking about a candidate for the next job after one game, but that's where we are. That's where we are. But I will warn Gator fans, don't get so locked in on those two guys that if it's not one of them, you feel like you failed. Maybe it will be one of them. But I think it's dangerous where there's the two. They're the two. I can promise you the two 5-6 years ago were Chip Kelly and Scott Frost. Those were the two. Now, to your credit, you wanted Mullen, and you were right. But those were the two. Well, the truth is, Florida talked to both of them, had interest in both of them, wound up hiring Mullen. Mullen wound up better than both of them. Now, forget what happened at the end. Mullen was better than both. So don't fixate on two guys. But I can see where they're at the top of the list, and I certainly get that. Let's squeeze in one more call before we take a break. Let's go to Richard. Richard, go ahead, please. Go ahead, Richard.
Hey.
Yes, Duval. But anyway, yes, I'm a Razorback fan. We beat Florida last year. And we got Bob Petrino as the assistant coach now. And Sam Pittman is going to take us. We won 70-0 against a high school team, UAPB. But I think the Jaguars are going to take care of Miami, and they're going to shock the world. And go Jags.
All right, Richard, I'm with you. Thank you for the call. We appreciate it very much. Now, speaking of those Gators, you ready for this?
This is big, folks.
This might be the biggest moment in my 36-year career.
If you're driving your car, pull it over to a safe spot if you can right now.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. Forget Taylor Swift concerts. Forget Super Bowl, okay? Right now, free of charge. Give me caller 138.
For how many yards Florida's going to have Saturday.
Okay. Caller 2 tickets to Florida Sanford. I'm giving them away. Well, I give the good things away. Florida Sanford right now, caller 2, 641-1010. Hays has some kind of an abbreviated headlines. That's after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The NFL starts Week 1 on Thursday night. The Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Baltimore Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City. A 3-point favorite in that contest, -102 against the spread. The Ravens getting 3 points at -120. On the money line, the Ravens +128. Kansas City -152. The over-under is at 46.5. Sao Paulo, Brazil is where the Packers and the Eagles will play Friday night. Philadelphia, 3-point favorite in the international game, -152 on the money line. Packers +128 with the over-under of 48.5. This update brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
Are your toilets flushing slow? Shower drain starting to back up? Bad smells? These are all major signs that your septic tank needs to be pumped out. Call Duck Rooter to schedule today. The EPA recommends you get your septic tank pumped out every 3 years. Call now if it's due. 904-862-6769. Duck Rooter is Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor that is fully insured. See our Google reviews. Visit duckrooter.com. 904-862-6769.
Hey, folks, if you're looking for an automobile, this summer, happiness is a brand new Chevy. Like a new Chevy Silverado from Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado. For well-qualified buyers, you can get rates as low as 1.9% financing on all new Silverado 1500 models. With the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $2,250 in trade assistance. What a great deal that is! And ask about our demo models for even deeper discounts. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership, conveniently located at the corner of Park and Cassett. Who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. With so many messages, we know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. We'll help you find doctors to get you better, and we'll work hard to maximize any recovery. Visit our website and look at our reviews to see how we've helped people just like you make this important decision. Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Raise the stakes on excitement at Best Bet, your go-to spot for unbeatable entertainment and unmatched hospitality. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the brand new Best Bet St. Augustine. No poker expertise? No problem. From high-stakes poker to casual games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Fortune Pie Gow, there's a game for everyone. Hungry for more? We're serving up delicious bites and craft cocktails, and we're open late. For details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet, your go-to spot for a thrilling night.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here. Look, most goals we set for ourselves have a pretty clear course. I want a trip to Las Vegas. So you read a couple of reviews, talk to a few friends, save up some money, and you book it. Maybe a couple of choices along the way, but overall, it's a clear course to reach your goal. Now, if your goal is to lose 40 or 50 pounds, where's the clear path? You read reviews, talk with a few friends, and try something out. When it doesn't work, you're disappointed. Look, we've all been there, and it stinks. Know what I say? Stop trying to do what I did and start doing. Reach your goal with Awaken 180. It's a clear course to success without the disappointment. No guesswork, no trial and error, and no medication side effects. I'm proof. I dropped 26 pounds my first go at it, and it was simple. A word never associated with weight loss except when referring to Awaken 180. Choose the simple, clear course to success with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hays Carlyon here. If you're like me in the fall, you want to watch football, not clean. Enter Molly Maid, voted Bold City Best Cleaning Service 3 years in a row. Molly Maid is reliable, friendly, and thorough. Visit mollymaid.com.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman. We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say, "What? Huh?"
I'm so over this.
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Caitlin Duggar at 770-4897.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
The average cost associated with childhood cancer is a startling $833,000. This is Tom Coughlin, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Help the J Fund raise awareness to help our neighbors and community members tackling this devastating disease. Visit tcjfund.org/September for more information.
High Flying Jack O'Brien here, sports fans. And now, I'm going to share the absolute right way to pronounce Kuhn flowers. It's Kuhn. Kuhn flowers. Remember, use Kuhn flowers.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
One of the bright spots for the Jaguars' offensive line last year was their first-round pick, Anton Harrison. Harrison showed many instances of rapid growth each game as he faced some of the top defensive players in the NFL. As Harrison prepares for his sophomore season, he will use what he learned going against tough opponents as a rookie to help him take a jump in year number 2.
And I just felt like I grew every week. So going against guys like T.J. Watt, Davion Clowney, Myles Garrett, just all them guys that I face week in and week out, I feel like they definitely got me better. Even in practice, going against Josh Allen and Trayvon every day just made me better. So I'd say just week by week I improved.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harold & Harold. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie, JJ LaSalva. I'm Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harold & Harold. Give them a call at 251-1111. Had a chance to go watch the Gators play in the Harold Box this past Saturday with Holt and his lovely wife Jessie and his sister Kimberly and a bunch of other great Gators fans. We had a great time until the game started.
Otherwise?
Yeah, we had a great time until the game started, but it was a lot of fun, so I certainly appreciate it again. 251-1111. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you or a loved one is hurt, that is who you need to call. Let's get to Jaguars. We have captains, Frank Frangie, Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram, Josh Hines-Allen, Foye Oluokun, and Logan Cook are your Jaguar permanent captains. And then Doug Peterson will rotate a sixth captain each game.
Yeah, that's a team full of leaders, and I like it. Obviously, Josh Hines-Allen and Trevor Lawrence have been captains. I like Evan Ingram in there. I think Evan's the guy that works. He gets there early. He leaves late. His work ethic, his routine is well known on that team. No question about it. I think Logan Cook might be the best punter in the league.
Absolutely. Let's get to around the NFL. Scary news over the weekend. Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers first-round receiver, shot the former Gator, but is going to pull through and will be fine. But obviously, it'll be a while before we see Ricky Pearsall on a football field.
Yeah, what a scary thing. Some punk tried to steal his watch. The bottom line is the punk got it too, by the way. They both got shot. And but you know, my guess is Ricky stood his ground, and I hope he's okay. He's a good player, man, and was having a good camp, and is a rookie first-round draft pick. Hopefully he's not down for too very long. The good news is everyone's saying that it was a through and through, meaning it didn't hit any vital organs, which is he's very blessed.
No doubt about it. The Carolina Panthers have released edge rusher Kayvon Chason.
You got to jump all over him, don't you?
I mean,
where are the Jaguars on the waiver list?
I mean, this is going to be big right here. Kayvon Chason available as a free agent. A little surprising that it happened now.
Yeah.
But
he's a guy that really looks the part. Just isn't a particularly good player at that level.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Getting it back to the San Francisco 49ers, good news is left tackle Trent Williams has reported and agreed to a new extension. So the 49ers are now rounding into form as they get ready for their game a week from yesterday, Monday night's game against the Jets. But Trent Williams in the fold, Brandon Ayuk in the fold, Christian McCaffrey now healthy from his calf injury. So things looking up for San Francisco.
Yeah, look, one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the league. Nobody would debate that. And now they got all the weapons in place.
Let's get to college football. The Gators stink, and we have well documented that. But did you get a chance to hear Billy Napier insult the fan base in his Monday presser? JJ's got that for us.
We got to go to work on the football part, and I think we got to get more. We got to become a more consistent team, and we have to execute better. And if we can focus on those things and not necessarily what some guy in his basement saying in rural Central Florida on social media, then we got a chance to get better, right? So I think that's the key.
You should be apologizing to that guy, Billy Napier, not making fun of him.
Yeah, that one didn't bother me as much as it bothered other people. He's a frustrated coach. He's tired of social media ripping him, so that was his way of lashing back. That bothered other people more than it did me. But it shows that these are desperate times. When the noise gets deafening, coaches lose their job.
And you just can't say that stuff.
Yeah.
You can't deliver what you delivered on Saturday and
you.
even remotely point the finger at someone else.
Yeah. So.
But there you go. I will say the Canes looked really impressive, Frank. Where are you on what's Miami's season going to look like?
I think they're really good. Now look, Florida's not very good. I'm not ready to say they're going to go beat Georgia, but I think they've got a good team. Number one, the quarterback's fantastic, and the 2 lines of scrimmage are really good. If you get that part figured out, if your quarterback's really good and both lines of scrimmage are really good, you know me, quarterback and D-line, I think they have a good. They're big, they're physical. Look, Mario Cristobal built it, and it looks built. Now, let's watch a few more times when it's not Florida, because I thought Florida would be the toughest game they played in their first 5 or 6. Now it might be the easiest, but I like Miami. I think Miami's got a really good team. I was overwhelmingly impressed with Cam Ward and their team overall.
Couple cupcakes coming up.
Yeah. Florida State stunned by Boston College. Mike Norvell 0-2 for the 3rd time in his FSU tenure, and the Noles must wait 2 weeks before their next game against Memphis. Frank, what's the biggest issue with the Seminoles right now?
Right now, they're not very physical. They're getting run on, and that's the biggest issue is they can't stop the run and they can't stop opposing physical offenses. But I do think a close second is the passing game. I really like their receivers. Again, I think Portier is really, really good. They got 2 guys. Number 1 and number 10 just look like their receivers have been looking. I think they're skilled. The offensive line is just okay. So I think in order for me, Hayes, number 1 is they can't stop other opposing offensive lines from mashing them. But a close second is the passing game. Man, I just don't see it with DJ Uiagalelei. I just don't see it. I want to see him more. Remember, I called one of his games at Clemson. I didn't see it then. I watched some of his games at Oregon State. I'm not sure I saw it then because I don't know what to do if he's not the guy.
The new AP Top 25 poll is out. Florida State drops out of the poll from 10th to unranked after losing their first two. Georgia is the top-ranked team in the land, no surprise there, followed by Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, and Notre Dame. Miami, by the way, is 12th.
I thought Notre Dame looked good, by the way. I thought Notre Dame is physical, man. That was a physical game between they and Texas A&M. I think the poll's about right. Florida State, it's hard to believe you went from 10th to unranked that quickly, but it could be a tough year for the Noles. Boy, Georgia looks good. We didn't talk much about it other than with Matt Hays for a moment or two. Boy, they have athletes upon athletes upon athletes and a really good quarterback in Carson Beck.
Let's get it to golf, where Scotty Scheffler cruises to the Tour Championship, made a cool $62 million this season.
He won 7 times. If you count everything, he won 7 times. Think about that for a second. 7. Maybe the best player we've seen since Prime Tiger. I mean, he might be the best golfer we've seen since Tiger at his prime.
No doubt about it. And we will conclude, as we always do, with our musical note of the day. Today we honor Jimmy Buffett, who died a year ago at the age of 76. Buffett sold over 20 million records worldwide. He will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame later this year. And this is, of course, Cheeseburger in Paradise.
I hate that he wasn't inducted before this. He belonged in the Hall. It's a shame that Jimmy Buffett wasn't around to see that. Shame on the Hall for never having Jimmy Buffett in it when he was alive. I feel passionately about that. Hard to believe it's been a year. September 1, 2023. The great Jimmy Buffett. You can't hear Buffett music and not feel pretty good. Well done on headline. Nicely done. Nicely done as always. Let's see where we've been today.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
You got a pretty good idea where we went today. We talked a lot of Gators and a lot of Noles, and we are incredulous that it's that bad. I made the comment that I think it'll be hard now. When the noise gets this deafening, it's hard to stop it. I don't think Billy Napier makes it to November. That's my opinion. The only thing I think he could do to stop that is I would play DJ Lagway and I would let it fly. And I would try and because that will give fans hope. And if you're trying to save your job, the best way to get hope is bring in a young superstar that they've been dying to see. That's how I would play it. That's how I think they should play it. And I think that's his best chance to save his job. We talked about the Noles, and nobody can believe that the Noles are struggling the way they are, really getting pushed around the way they are, not having much of a passing game. Matt Hays stopped by to talk SEC football. He'll do it every Tuesday. It's brought to you by Underwood Jewelers. Thanks to our friends at Underwood. Appreciate Matt stopping by. It's been a busy show. We even took some calls. Our calls talked about the Gators and the Noles as well. That's the cool down, and that is where we have been. Whew, what a weekend!
What a weekend!
What a depressing weekend, but what a look. If I say depressing for those, there's so many Gators and Noles around here. But if you're JJ and the Hurricanes, you're elated. If you're the Bulldogs, you're elated, right? They looked as good. I will say this:
if you're Vandy, you're elated.
Yes, you are. Oh, by the way, the SEC scores. When you went and saw how many of those SEC teams scored 50, 60, 70 points. Now listen, there's always cupcakes. But I don't remember so many 76 to nothings and 69 to threes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of points.
There's a lot of good offense being played in this league. And again, that's about a perfect game. Now, those are overmatched opponents. But
usually the overmatched opponent, you beat them 52 to 10.
But when you're
76
scoring,
to nothing.
Yeah, when you're scoring in the 60s and 70s, I mean, now obviously you're talking about 9 or 10 possessions in the game you're scoring on. That's almost a perfect game because obviously you're not going to have very, very many more possessions than that. So a lot of great offensive football being played in the SEC, but none of it is in Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah, let me ask you this. I mean, so Ole Miss won 76 to nothing. They come to Gainesville later. You like Ole Miss in that game?
I do like Ole Miss in that game. I would not be at all surprised if Lane Kiffin makes a point in that game.
Let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
All right, Ballou, your team sucks, but mine might suck worse. Okay, that's what I got for you, okay?
It's going to be a legitimate toilet bowl, isn't it?
It really is. God almighty.
Yeah.
I am shocked by it. I know you're shocked by the Noles. I'm shocked the Gators are that bad. What a bizarre start to the college football season.
Even though they're great rivals, I just hate it for fans, our listeners. I mean, the college football season is destroyed for both programs before the month of September rolled around. I mean, this is incredible. The good news is we got some Georgia fans out there. We got some Miami fans out there. Those two teams are absolutely legit. But, I mean, it is going to be a season where these teams are going to get punished week after week after week after week. And, all the apologists out there, they're getting laughed at now. The excuse makers are starting to get laughed at. And, if it's not one thing, it's another. And, I thought last week for Florida State, the excuses were somewhat acceptable. You can't make one now. Not after what they did on Saturday or on Monday night in front of a home audience. I mean, they just got absolutely destroyed at the line of scrimmage. Shocking to me. I mean, it's more than surprising. It is absolutely shocking to me that they're that soft in the ditch.
I had FSU at 9 or 10 wins and Florida at 7 or 8 wins. I did. Boy, did I drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, did I drink the Kool-Aid. All right, what's coming up tonight? A lot of that?
Yeah, I'm going to do some of that. I'm not going to dwell on all of it because I just I was so negative last Monday on Florida State. I don't want it to be like Groundhog Day again.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'll give it probably an hour and 40 of my 2-hour minutes.
Well, it's good that you're not going all in.
Okay. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Rick Ballou goes in tonight. I told everybody last week, if you didn't hear his first segment last week, go find it on demand.
Yeah, it was great.
I got a hunch we got another one coming. Yeah. Folks, that's our program. Rick Ballou is next. We'll see you for Hays and JJ. I'm Frank Frangie. So long.